May you be peaceful in body and mind. In this ever-changing and unpredictable life, all of us will, at some point, face unexpected challenges. It might be a sudden accident, a deep personal loss, or simply a sense of emptiness and confusion in the midst of our daily lives. And in moments like these, we often ask ourselves, why is this happening to me? Or, how can I overcome this without losing my compassion or peace of mind? In today's video, we will reflect upon the compassionate and wise teachings of the Buddha, timeless guidance that can help us stay grounded and peaceful, even in the storms of life. The theme we are going to explore is, when trouble strikes, do these 4 things the Buddha taught, and unexpected blessings will follow. These are not merely ethical principles or motivational sayings. They are the essence of awakened wisdom, passed down through generations, offering us a solid foundation to face adversity with grace and to receive blessings naturally without asking for them. The Buddha once revealed that there are 4 essential truths we must carry with us through life. Silence is gold, patience is silver, helping others is virtue, taking loss is inner wealth. Those who live by these 4 truths will find peace of mind, joy in simplicity, and freedom from the burdens of praise and blame, gain and loss. They will no longer be chained by the illusions of success or the fear of failure. Let us not allow our hearts to be shaken by endless comparisons and calculations. Let go of bitterness and pride. Live sincerely, kindly, and wholeheartedly, for that is how we build a future free from regret. What we do today will quietly shape the days to come. So even when life becomes difficult, hold firmly to inner peace. Because true happiness is not about avoiding hardship, it's about learning how to remain steady and kind while walking through it. It is in the moments of sorrow, anger, or fear that we begin to understand the value of true joy. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful. It just needs to be deeply understood. Now let us begin the main part of this reflection. The 4 things the Buddha advised us to do when life becomes difficult. Simple actions that quietly invite unexpected blessings, like flowers that bloom in silence without needing to be called. 1. Silence is gold, patience is silver. There are times when silence is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength, wisdom, and inner stability. The Buddha taught that knowing when to stay quiet can protect our peace, avoid unnecessary conflict, and even transform our suffering into insight. Silence allows us to step back, breathe, and see clearly before reacting. It is in that stillness that healing begins. Each person carries a different kind of blessing, and each has their own karmic path. When we choose kindness and patience, even when others hurt or offend us, we are planting seeds of merit that will ripen in the future. Like a mirror that reflects what stands before it, life reflects back what we put into it. So before we judge others, we should look deeply into ourselves. Life is like a stage, and each of us plays different roles in different lifetimes. Rebirth is simply a change of costume. Gain and loss, winning and losing, all pass like clouds in the sky. Even when we don't have wealth, we can still offer meaning. Even in sorrow, we can choose compassion. Hatred, in the end, is just a trick of fate, and when we see through it, hatred dissolves. Sometimes we are joyful because we gain, and sorrowful because we lose. But in truth, is there any real difference? To balance gain and loss, that is wisdom. Life ultimately comes down to birth and death. Everything in between is karma being repaid. When past debts are settled, we are free to walk our own way. Encounters in life are not random. They come from dukkha and duen, causes and conditions. So if we learn to take things lightly, to let go of attachments and comparisons, we begin to walk the path of clarity. Live truthfully with others. Don't wait until you look back and feel regret. Moments pass quickly, and the choices we make now shape what we become. The Buddha taught that harming living beings carries heavy karmic consequences. Every creature, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, deserves to live. We should never use our power to oppress the weak, because such cruelty will eventually return to us in bitter form. Many people mistreat animals without being punished by law, but just because karma doesn't strike immediately doesn't mean it isn't real. Violence, even when hidden, leaves a trace on the soul. No animal deserves to suffer. They too breathe, feel, and love in their own way. The Buddha reminded us, those who constantly harm and kill sentient beings will receive the full weight of their actions in time. We must learn to protect all life, not just human life, as if it were our own. This is the heart of compassion. 2. Patience is silver. Among all the virtues we can cultivate, patience is one of the most challenging, yet also one of the most transformative. It asks us to pause when every part of us wants to react, to breathe when we feel the fire of anger rising, to hold steady when life feels unfair or cruel. The Buddha compared patience to silver, precious, valuable, yet often overlooked. While gold, like silence, brings stillness, silver reflects light. Patience reflects the strength of a calm heart in the midst of storms. In life, we will inevitably encounter people who misunderstand us, hurt us, or even take advantage of us. Some will insult us without cause. Some may betray our trust. And there may be times when we lose things that are dear to us, our possessions, our opportunities, even our dignity. In those moments, we are often tempted to strike back, to raise our voice, to make others feel our pain. But the Buddha taught a different way, the way of endurance and quiet dignity. To remain silent in the face of slander is not weakness, it is wisdom. To forgive those who harm us is not foolishness, it is freedom. When we learn to respond with patience, we protect our inner peace. We refuse to let others control our emotions. And more importantly, we stop adding fuel to the fire of conflict. Patience is not about suppressing emotion. It is about understanding it, holding it gently, and allowing it to pass through us without causing more harm. When we remain patient with others, we are also being patient with ourselves. We are acknowledging that every person, no matter how unkind they may seem, is still a being struggling through their own suffering. Sometimes people lash out because they are hurting. Sometimes they lie or manipulate because they are afraid. If we react with anger, we become like them. If we respond with patience, we become like the Buddha. Patience also teaches humility. It reminds us that we are not perfect either. We have made mistakes. We have caused pain, knowingly or unknowingly. So when someone wrongs us, we can ask, can I be the one to stop this cycle? Of course, patience doesn't mean allowing abuse or enduring injustice without boundaries. It means learning how to respond, not just react. It means pausing before speaking, choosing kindness over retaliation, recognizing that time, silence, and steady kindness often do what arguments never could. In a noisy world, your patience can be your power. Your calm can be your protection. And your silence, when practiced from compassion, can be your greatest teacher. So be patient not only with others, but also with yourself. Growth takes time, healing takes time, and through patience, we make space for both. 3. Helping others is a virtue. Among the many teachings of the Buddha, one shines like a lamp in the darkness. To serve others is to serve oneself. True spiritual growth does not lie in isolation from the world, but in compassionate engagement with it. To help others is not simply an act of kindness. It is a powerful expression of inner awakening. It is a reflection of the wisdom that understands the interconnection of all beings. We often think that giving means losing something, but in truth, every act of generosity opens the door to gain, not in material wealth, but in spiritual richness. When we offer a hand to someone in need, we also lift ourselves. When we ease the suffering of another, we soften the hardness of our own heart. Helping others doesn't require grand gestures. It can begin with the smallest acts, a kind word, a gentle smile, a listening ear. Even a moment of attention, when given sincerely, can heal wounds that words cannot reach. The Buddha taught that true merit is born not from ritual, but from compassion. To help someone in need without expecting anything in return is to plant a seed of boundless virtue in the field of the heart. And like all seeds, it will grow, in time, in unseen ways. And one day, it will return to you as peace, joy, or unexpected support when you need it most. Many people believe that helping others is only for those who have much to give, but in the eyes of the Dharma, even a poor person can be rich in kindness. Even someone struggling can still choose to uplift another soul, because what truly matters is not what we give, but how we give it, with love, respect, and sincerity. In helping others, we become more human. We connect to our shared fragility and our shared strength. We begin to understand that suffering is not an individual burden, it is a shared human condition. And when we step outside of our own pain, even briefly, to relieve someone else's, we begin to transform not just their life, but ours. There is an old saying, when one candle lights another, it loses nothing, yet the darkness is diminished. Helping others is like being that candle. You lose nothing of your own light, but you help the world shine just a little brighter. And the more you give, the more you realize you were never losing anything at all. You were gaining peace, you were gaining freedom, you were discovering your true nature, that of compassion and loving kindness. The Buddha reminds us that merit is not built from pride, but from humility. When we give from a place of ego, we are still caught in the net of self. But when we give with an open heart, quietly and sincerely, we rise above the self. In moments when you feel lost, one of the best ways to return to yourself is to help someone else find their way. In moments when your heart feels heavy, help lift the burden of another, and watch your own sorrow lighten. Helping others is also a practice of mindfulness. It asks us to pay attention, to notice when someone is hurting, even when they don't say it. It trains us to act with intention, to offer not just assistance, but presence. And over time, those actions become a way of life. They become a path, a noble path, toward inner transformation. When we make helping others a part of who we are, we begin to see the world differently. We no longer feel separate or alone. We realize that we are part of a great web of life, and every kind act is a thread that binds us closer in love and understanding. So remember this: every time you help someone, you are watering the garden of your own soul. And one day, that garden will bloom with the fragrance of peace, joy, and wisdom. To help others is not a duty. It is a privilege. It is the gentle art of making the world a little kinder, one compassionate act at a time. As the Buddha said, if you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your own path. 4. Taking loss is inner wealth. In a world where people are taught to always seek gain, to win, to profit, to come out ahead, the idea of willingly accepting loss can seem strange, even foolish. Why should we choose to lose, to suffer, to give up what is rightfully ours? But the Buddha's teachings guide us to a higher truth. Sometimes the greatest strength is found in surrender. Sometimes what seems like a loss on the surface becomes the very thing that liberates our heart. To take loss doesn't mean you are weak. It means you are free, free from the endless battle of ego, free from the need to prove yourself, free from the idea that your worth is measured by what you own or how many battles you win. There will be times in life when you are misunderstood, times when you are blamed unfairly or treated unjustly. People may take advantage of your kindness. They may walk away without saying thank you or even accuse you after all you've given. In these moments, you may feel wounded, but if you look deeper, beyond the sting of pride, you may find something sacred awakening inside you. When you choose not to fight back, not because you're afraid, but because you've outgrown the need to retaliate, you begin to touch something profound, the inner wealth of peace. Material loss is temporary, but spiritual composure, the ability to stay calm, to remain kind, to endure with dignity, is timeless. Taking loss teaches you detachment. It reminds you that everything in this world is impermanent. Money comes and goes, status rises and falls, even relationships change with time. But your inner values, compassion, humility, and wisdom are eternal. They are the real treasure. They are the only wealth you can carry beyond this life. Many people live in fear of losing. They fear being looked down upon, being called naive or too soft. But the Buddha taught that true nobility lies not in conquering others, but in conquering the self. And often, the path to self-mastery begins with one powerful decision: to let go. Let go of being right all the time. Let go of needing recognition. Let go of the belief that losing something means you've failed, because when you are no longer bound by the fear of loss, you become unshakable. You become someone who can face life's storms with grace, someone who no longer breaks under pressure, but bends like bamboo and rises again. Taking loss is also an act of compassion. When you allow others to win, when you take a step back, even when you could push forward, you give them space to grow. You give yourself space to breathe, and from that space, wisdom emerges. You may not see the reward right away. There may be no applause, no recognition, but life has its own quiet way of returning the blessings. A peaceful heart sleeps well at night. A humble soul walks lightly in this world, and a person who can take loss without bitterness carries the fragrance of freedom wherever they go. Sometimes what you give up is actually what was holding you back. So the next time life asks you to take a loss, whether it's giving up control, losing an argument, sacrificing comfort for someone else, or walking away from what no longer serves you, ask yourself, is this truly a loss, or is it an invitation to grow? Because every loss taken with grace becomes a gain in spirit, and in the end, it is not how much we kept, but how much we gave, not how high we climbed, but how gently we lived, that defines a meaningful life. As the Buddha taught, let go of the lesser, and the greater will come. Give up the short term, and you will gain the eternal. To take loss is to embrace the quiet wealth of the awakened heart. Karma of Cruelty, the story of Ethan and the white dog. Long ago, in a quiet village nestled deep within the forest, there lived a man named Ethan. He was known throughout the area, not for kindness or wisdom, but for his temper and cruelty. Though he had land, a strong body, and no lack of possessions, his heart was hard, and his eyes saw animals as nothing more than tools or annoyances. Whenever a stray dog or cat wandered into his yard, Ethan would fly into a rage. He beat them mercilessly with sticks, chased them away with stones, and took pleasure in watching them flee in pain. The cries of these poor animals echoed through the village, haunting those who heard, but no one dared speak up, fearing Ethan's wrath. One day, as the sun dipped low and the cicadas sang in the trees, a small white dog wandered through the village. Its fur was like fresh snow, its eyes gentle yet alert. Hungry, tired, and harmless, the dog stepped into Ethan's garden. Without hesitation, Ethan grabbed a stick and stormed outside. The dog froze, ears back, tail tucked, but Ethan showed no mercy. He struck again and again. The little creature howled in pain, curled into itself, and whimpered softly. Yet even this sound of suffering stirred no compassion in his heart. When the dog stopped moving, Ethan laughed, a cold, sharp laugh, the sound of someone who had long forgotten what empathy feels like. He returned to his home satisfied. That night, Ethan slept soundly, or so he thought. In the middle of the night, he found himself in a vivid dream. In this dream, he was no longer himself. He had been transformed into a small white dog. The world around him was enormous, terrifying. He trembled with fear, uncertain and alone. Suddenly, a towering man appeared, with cold eyes and a heavy stick. Before Ethan could run, the blows came, hard, relentless. He screamed, but no one heard. He tried to escape, but the pain overwhelmed him. The beatings continued, echoing endlessly through this dream world. Every blow tore into him, not just his body, but his spirit. He was no longer the master, he was now the victim. When Ethan awoke, he was soaked in sweat. His body ached, though no one had touched him. His heart pounded like a drum, and his breath came in sharp gasps. He sat up, disoriented, and then he remembered the dream, and then he remembered the dog. For the first time in years, Ethan felt something move in his chest, a crack in the cold armor of his heart. Guilt. He realized what had happened was no ordinary dream. It was a warning, a message, perhaps from his own conscience, perhaps from the unseen forces of karma. But it was clear, what you do unto others one day you must endure. From that night on, Ethan's life began to unravel. Whenever he stepped outside, stray dogs would bark at him, sometimes chase and bite. He fell ill, his crops withered despite rain. Neighbors avoided him. His home, once filled with power and pride, became silent and heavy with loneliness. Eventually, Ethan could no longer deny the truth. His suffering was not random. It was the echo of the pain he had caused. One morning he walked quietly to the edge of the village where monks often passed by on their alms rounds. He waited until one came near, then fell to his knees. "I've done wrong," he whispered. "I hurt animals. I feel their pain now. I don't want to be this person anymore." The monk said nothing for a moment, then softly he replied, "The Buddha taught that there are two kinds of noble people in this world, those who never commit wrong, and those who, after doing wrong, truly repent and change." That day, Ethan began a new path. He built shelters for stray animals. He fed them with his own hands. He sat for hours beside wounded dogs, whispering apologies he could never say aloud before. At first, the villagers watched in disbelief, but over time, they saw something remarkable. Not just a change in Ethan's actions, but a transformation in his entire being. His face softened, his eyes grew kind. The animals who once feared him now came close, and peace slowly returned to his home. Through his pain, Ethan discovered something the Buddha always taught. The seeds we plant, in thought, word, and deed, will one day bloom, whether in joy or in sorrow. And when we harm others, even those without a voice, we harm ourselves. But the door to redemption is never closed. True repentance is not about guilt alone, it is about awakening, it is about action, it is about change. When we sincerely recognize our wrongs and vow to do better, the universe listens, and even the darkest karma can be transformed into light. Final reflections. When trouble comes, remember these 4 truths. Dear friends, life is a journey filled not only with joy and beauty, but also with storms and uncertainty. There will be times when the path ahead seems unclear, when sorrow knocks at your door uninvited. In such moments, you may feel shaken, alone, or lost. But remember this, even when the winds howl and the skies darken, the Dharma remains a guiding light, and the Buddha, with boundless compassion, has left us timeless wisdom to help us walk through life's most difficult seasons. When trouble strikes, these 4 truths, like pillars of strength, can hold your heart steady. Silence is golden. When the world around you becomes noisy and your mind feels like a storm, retreat into stillness. Not every pain must be spoken. Not every conflict needs your reaction. Sometimes silence is not weakness, it is protection. It is the sacred space where understanding blossoms and inner peace takes root. 2. Patience is silver. Life tests us with delays, injustices, and people who do not see our worth. Patience, true loving patience, is the armor of the wise. It teaches you to pause before reacting, to endure without resentment, and to trust that all things unfold in time. Be patient with others. Be patient with yourself. Great things grow slowly. 3. Helping others is a blessing. When you give, you are never truly losing. You are making room in your heart for light. When you uplift another, you elevate your own soul. Even a small act of kindness sends ripples into the world. And one day, those ripples will return to you as peace, healing, or unexpected grace. 4. Taking loss is a treasure. To endure loss with an open heart is not defeat, it is freedom. It is the wisdom of letting go, of understanding that what truly matters can never be taken from you. Sometimes to give up the lesser is to make space for the greater, and what looks like a loss in this life may be a gift in the life of the Spirit. These teachings are not just ancient words, they are living truths, practices to return to again and again, especially in times of distress. If you feel broken, confused, or afraid, pause, take a deep breath, remember these 4 golden steps. Walk gently, act kindly, speak less, and love more. In doing so, you are not only healing yourself, you are honoring the path of wisdom, the way of compassion. The Buddha never promised a life without sorrow, but he offered something more powerful: the tools to walk through sorrow without being consumed by it, the strength to remain soft in a hard world, the clarity to see through illusion, and the courage to live from love, not fear. So whenever trouble comes your way, don't just react. Return to the Dharma, return to silence, return to patience, return to kindness, return to humility, and you will find that even in your darkest hour, a light begins to shine, not from outside, but from within. That is the secret. That is the blessing. May you carry these teachings in your heart. May they bloom into wisdom, into strength, and into peace, no matter what life brings. Thank you for walking this path with sincerity. If this message has touched you, share it. Let the ripple of wisdom spread, and may all beings be free from suffering. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha, with compassion and peace.